everybody. So today we are continuing on with our Once Upon a Pointe series. I know you guys love this series. I love doing it. It's very easy for me. So last time I told you about my first year at SAB. If you haven't watched it, I will stick it in a card and below for you guys. So watch that first. As I told you in that video, I did the workshop, didn't get accepted as an apprentice my first year, stayed for the summer course, went home. So I came back for my second year with kind of a different attitude in that I was going to go for broke this second year. Not that I didn't work hard my first year, but I think the second year it was like, all right, now I know what I'm doing. I know how the school works. I know what they're looking for. Also, I was moved up to the top level, which was D, instead of being in C2. So now I was like, all right, this is the top level. I kind of can't go any higher, so it's like make it or break it year, you know what I mean? Not that you can't repeat a year. Many people repeated D, especially if you weren't graduated high school yet. I think at this point I was a junior in high school. So I technically could have done another year after that. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go for broke this year. I ended up getting in really good shape over the summer and just was like, this is my year. So we came back. Classes started normal. All was good. I believe that fall we did a choreographic workshop, and which is where they bring in choreographers to work with the students. I had my same grade teachers. I was well favored. All was good. So it's in November, and we are taking Suki Shore's class. She still teaches there if you've ever been to SAB. And Suki Shore's class was one of my favorites, but it was also very fast and quick and jumpy. So we're in the middle of Petit Allegro, and she gives some jump combination. All I remember is Ballet Bas 2. And the bottom foot, we were obviously going, left foot was brushing, and I was jumping off of the right foot. I landed my Ballet Bas 2, and it makes me cringe to this day. So I rolled over my ankle. It popped. They heard it across the room. I landed, crunched it, 2 ligaments torn. It like this fast. 60 seconds, my ankle was the size of a softball. So it just, to this day, Ballet Bas 2, I will never give Ballet Bas 2 in any of my classes. I don't do it because it creeps me out. Literally, my fellow classmates heard it across the room. So the ankle swells up just like, luckily, as it happened, Marika Molnar, who is the legendary physical therapist of the New York City Ballet, happened to be in the hall watching class. She just happened to be standing there looking in the door, which was incredible luck. So she came in and she looked at it and she was like, yeah, this is a bad sprain. I couldn't walk on it. And here I am thinking this is going to be like, I'm going to kill it this year. Now I'm out with a sprained ankle, 2 torn ligaments, can't even walk come November. So I was devastated, absolutely devastated. And I remember, if you remember from the last video, the SAB students used to travel to Stamford, Connecticut to do a nutcracker there. And of course, in the back of my head, I'm like, well, that's out. When you injure yourself like that as a dancer, you kind of see your whole life flashing before you and you think, yeah, this isn't good, because then your mind immediately goes to all of the other people who will now step in and take your place, and you're suddenly at the bottom of the totem pole. So it was devastating. Did a lot of physical therapy on it, and I think I was on crutches for a good 2 weeks. I mean, it was a while, because I remember getting so buff in my arms because of how much I was on crutches. I was literally like, I had guns because I was literally like using my arms to walk for weeks. And I remember at that point, for a couple days I was very depressed, but then I thought, okay, no, this is what we're going to do. I would go and watch class every day. After class, I would go down to the Pilates room because there is Pilates at SAB. I would go down to the Pilates room and work myself back. I did all the arm stuff. I did all the ab stuff. I did everything because, you don't have to actually put weight on your feet to do Pilates. And I was in that Pilates room every single day. It was a long process. But about a month in, and I might have told this story in the Apprentice video, about a month into this injury. I was sitting there every day watching class, and Peter comes in, Peter Martins, at the time director of New York City Ballet, comes in and sits down. And he says, he's just watching. He says, how long you been out? I said, a month. And he said, well, you get back, okay? You get back. And I said, okay, all right. The very next day, it was announced that 3 girls were going into the company as apprentices for Nutcracker. And that was the most devastating blow, because I knew that's why he was asking me, because it was like, I want to take you, but you're injured. And it was literally the very next day that these girls were going in as apprentices for Nutcracker. And were, now out of class. They were taking company class and rehearsing. And I was just like, ugh. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Actually, all 3 of them are still in the company, which is another SAB secret, you guys. Just because you get taken as an apprentice in June and you might win a Wien Award and all this stuff doesn't mean you're necessarily going to have a grand career. Do you remember those 2 girls in the first video that were taken as apprentices and put into the company in June? They're no longer in the company. The 3 that were taken just, all right, we need 3 more girls for Nutcracker, here we go, are all still in the company, and this was 2005. This was 13 years ago. They're all still in the company. Gretchen Smith, who is now doing Cole Haan ads. Janelle Manzi, who has her own healthy baking thing she's becoming famous for. And Mary Elizabeth Sell, who is in every ballet that ever existed in New York City Ballet. All 3 of them have incredible careers. They are still in there, and they were the girls taken in the fall. So a lot of people get caught up in, well, I was only taken in the fall. I wasn't a favorite in June, so this and that. All 3 of them are still in the company doing, excelling. And the 2 that were taken in June that last year are not there anymore. So you can't read too much into anything. It all depends on you and the work you put into it, your desire, your passion, your drive, how you pace yourself. So don't think if you weren't taken as an apprentice in June that you're made or that you're going to have a terrible career or whatnot. It doesn't matter. It's entirely up to you. Do not read into when you're taken as an apprentice. You just can't. So anyway, back to the story. So they get taken into the company as apprentices. And the following day, I went into physical therapy and I said to Marika Molnar, I was like, can I start bar back? Because at that point I was like, all right, I got to start. This is we got to do something about this. So I was able to do baby bar. It took me maybe 2 months to really get back to strength. I remember just doing pliés for 3 days and then adding tendus for a week and then adding dégagé. I mean, it was such a slow process. But it helped me because I didn't come back too fast. That ankle always gave me problems, as you'll hear about once we get into more stories about me being in the company. My right ankle was my nemesis my entire career, and I had other injuries with the same ankle. But I did come back at a decent pace. So I started doing class. We went away for Christmas break, came back. And when we came back in January, it was announced that Christopher Wheeldon was going to be setting his ballet, Scènes de Ballet, which is spelled, so you know what I'm talking about, Scenes de Ballet, on the SAB students. And not only was it going to be in our end of the year workshop, but it was going to be in the company's rep. And we, as the students, were going to get to perform it at the State Theater, which is now the Coke Theater, but at the time it was the State Theater. So we were going to get to take part in a company rep evening, which is so exciting, especially as an SAB kid, to be able to perform with the company and be one of the ballets on the program was huge. So this was such a big deal, but in the back of my head, I'm like, I still have a bum foot. This isn't good. I need to come back really, really strong. So over Christmas break, I tried to get it back. So then I came back in January and was probably doing, I'd say 75% of class. I don't believe I was jumping at that point. And Christopher Wheeldon started to come in with his several assistants and watch classes to cast this ballet. And this ballet is huge. It uses everybody from tiny little people to the top level kids in the school, because the whole ballet, and I'll insert a photo here, I don't think this is my cast, but the whole ballet is on a diagonal. And half of the students are the dancers and half of the students are the reflection. So, from the audience's perspective, the downstage dancers are the dancers and the upstage dancers are the reflections. So you do everything mirror image. The entire ballet is mirror image. It's very, very clever and it's gorgeous. And the beauty of it is that pretty much every role had two, because one was the dancer, one was the mirror. So there was not ever any solos without a second person. So we knew that there were going to be these opportunities. I think there's the jumping girls, the more lyrical girls, the pas de deux girls, all this kind of stuff. So I knew this was a big deal, especially since we were going to do it at the State Theater with the company. And if it's on a rep evening, all the ballet masters are there, Peter's there, the world is watching. So this was going to be a big deal. So Chris came in and watched and this and that. And the way Chris likes to operate, or at least sometimes with these ballets where he doesn't quite know the dancers, because he knows the whole company, you know, he choreographs on them all the time. With these new kids, he doesn't really know what they can do. So oftentimes he'll take the 12 that he likes, at least this is how we did it, and he will teach every part to every girl. So I learned the jumpy girl, I learned the lyrical girl, I learned the pas de deux girl. We all learned all of these roles, and then we had to show him, and from there he cast it. So I remember being one of these 10, 12, 15 people, and the first thing we learned, of course, was the jumpy section. And I think, what were they called? It was like the butterfly girl, because the whole thing is very, you know. And I remember him saying to me, I know you're not 100%, but I want to see as much as I can. So in my head, that means just suck it up and do it. You know, just get through it, fake it. So we learned the jumpy girl, and the other one I think was for a taller soloist female, which obviously I wasn't going to get, because I'm not tall. And then we learned the pas de deux girl. And that was the role everybody wanted, because half of the pas de deux is not mirror imaged. So it's just you and your partner for half of the pas de deux on the stage. And then the mirror image comes in on the thing in the second part, because one of the tiny little girls is at the bar watching you, like imagining it's herself. I think she's on the real side and you're the reflection. And so the little girl's watching just you and your partner in the mirror until the other couple comes on. So it was the only solo, except as a pas de deux, in the ballet. It's, everybody wanted that part. And it was going to be double casted. I got partnered with Jerome Tisserand, who is now a principal with Pacific Northwest Ballet. Gorgeous, gorgeous French dancer. But he was my partner. We were at SAB together. And we were one of the two that got cast. It was myself and Jerome and Tabitha Rinko-Gay, who is no longer in the company, and Justin Peck. You all know Justin Peck. Justin Peck was the other one. So we were the two couples that got to alternate this pas de deux. And that to me was so exciting. There weren't any jumps in it, so that was handy because of my foot. And I just remember rehearsing this ballet every single day of my second year at SAB come January. I mean, we worked on this thing forever. But it was worth it, because I think we ended up doing it in February or March with the company, because there was once in their winter season and then it was going to go again in the spring season. So we were going to get to do it twice. And so I ended up doing it with Jerome, and I think we got a nice little review somewhere, and that was huge, especially after the devastating foot problem and not getting taken as an apprentice in the fall. It was kind of validation, not validation, but it was kind of like, okay, I'll be fine, you know, because I got to do a pas de deux on the stage with New York City Ballet in their rep evening, which as a student is everybody's dream. One in the winter season, and then in the spring season, it came back. And I proved very, very early on that I was a quick study, both at SAB and in the company. And that turned out to be a good thing and a bad thing. When it came around, the ballet came around in the spring season, we were the mirror, so the other girl, my opposite, got injured. So I ended up, they were like, oh, I'll put Katie on, because it's the same steps. It's everything backwards. So instead of turning right, you're turning left. Instead of your left leg, it's your right leg. So one show I was doing my spot, which was the pas de deux mirror image girl. Second show, I had to do the other side, which is totally opposite. Same steps. It's like reversing a combination in class. Instead of going to the right, you go to the left. I had to do everything backwards. And I think I had like 2 days to get this. And I just remember like feeling like, whoa, well, left, right, up, down, no, wrong. It was really interesting. And it was the most bizarre thing. It's like, imagine you've been working on your YAGP solo or whatever part you have for months and months and months and months. And now somebody says, all right, do the same solo, but completely reverse it. Do everything on the other side, turn the completely other direction, lift the opposite leg. It's like you'd go mental. So, but I still had to do my original spot. So I was literally on for every show reversing the process. It was such a test of brainwaves. And I remember that turned out to be a good thing because I was praised for it. But I just remember, you know, it was like one of these things, like, I don't know. By the end of the run, I didn't know my right from my left, what partner I had, you know, because my partners would change. I wouldn't dance with the same guy. So yeah, it was a nightmare. But it ended up being great, and I really think that helped my career because it showed I could handle myself even as a young age, you know, on the stage, carrying a pas de deux. And it showed that I could be depended upon and quick. You've heard me say that before, guys. You got to be the one that knows it. You got to be the one that they can put on and say, yeah, reverse it, because it will help you a lot. So then the workshop came around, and this video is already getting really long, but welcome to Once Upon a Pointe. So the workshop came around, and I might have touched on this in the apprentice video as well. SAB Ballet, the same ballet we had just done, was also in our workshop, so I did that, and I alternated performances with a ballet called Bourrée Fantasque, which is a Balanchine ballet that is no longer done by the New York City Ballet. 3 movements. First movement's kind of jumpy and cute. Second movement principle, which is what I was the lyrical pas de deux movement. Kind of a trend here. That was my strength. Obviously, don't put Katie in the jumping role. Not a good idea. And so I would alternate shows with that, and my partner for Bourrée Fantasque was Justin Peck. So I danced with Jerome in SAB Ballet and Justin Peck in Bourrée Fantasque. The workshop just went beautifully. As I told you in the apprentice video, I won the Wien Award, was one of the Wien Award winners, which is given to, I think, 3 to 4 students at the end of every year who show great promise. And then a couple days later, we were all told we were going to be apprentices. But as I told you in the apprentice video, I had been told in February that I was going to be an apprentice, just because of the injury, because I was discouraged at that point. I was trying to do SAB Ballet with my bad foot, and Chris watching me and wanting me to do this, and I went through a rough couple of weeks, and I think that's when Kay pulled me aside and said, not to worry, you're going to be an apprentice come June. So do what you do, and that relaxed me for the whole year, and that was such a gift, as I said in that video. So if you haven't seen the apprentice video, please watch it. It literally starts right about the time that we did workshop my second year. And you'll get to hear the full story. I don't think I need to really go back into all of that. So we talked about that. We talked about getting apprenticeship. We talked about getting cast as Juliet. So I think where I'll start with the next Once Upon a Points, you guys let me know in the comments, is either going way back to when I was really little and how I started ballet and go from there, or do you want to hear going on into the company stories about all that, which I'm sure you do, but what do you want to hear next? Let me know what you want to hear next. Stories of how I started ballet or later on. So that is it from me today, guys. If you have any video requests, please leave me a comment in the box below. A lot of you have been asking about the vlog channel. I will get back to it. It's just my schedule has been so crazy that I have, number one, not have had time to vlog, and number 2, forgotten to vlog. So I will get back to that. If you missed the video of the Romeo and Juliet wedding scene and big fight scene, which is amazing, by the way, go down there and click it to watch. Love you guys so much, and I will see you next time.